Step number 4, you've determined, and you've talked with somebody that there is not going to be a probate. There does not have to be a probate. How does that come about? That would come about through there being some form of estate planning. Maybe the decedent went to the attorney and they decided to have a will, but set up their estate plan to avoid probate. How does that happen? And that is a very intentional estate plan to avoid a probate, yet still have a will. And we often do that here at ELG Estate Planning. And when is that appropriate? It's typically appropriate when it's a fairly simple estate and nobody who's receiving assets needs asset protection. So we can set it up to just go automatically on the decedent's death. So there's not going to be a probate because that's how we set it up. How does this work then? The assets pay automatically. How do they pay automatically? They pay automatically because the person who set up their estate plan put a beneficiary designation on their life insurance policy, in their 401k or 403b or IRA. They put a pay on death provision on their bank accounts, or they held their bank accounts with someone as joint tenants with right of survivorship. All of that means those assets are directed to go somewhere when the person dies. If they have a house, they can file with the county something that's called a transfer on death deed. And a transfer on death deed is done during the person's lifetime, but just like it says, transfer on death, when they die, then the house automatically transfers to who the beneficiary is on that deed. If an estate plan is set up in that manner, then when the person dies, moving the assets to where they go is really easy because the person who's the beneficiary or the persons, all they need to do is basically take the death certificate, or in the case of the house, there's a real estate excise tax affidavit needs to be recorded with the county, but things happen fairly automatically. And because it's fairly automatic like that, that means it's a fairly simple estate, not very complicated. And that can be an excellent way for somebody to set up their estate plan, because if everything goes automatically, clearly it's less work involved.